And welcome to the Foxcatcher AFL show. My name's Julian Valens, joined as always by Bernie Vince. Bernie, let's get into round 16 action immediately. Friday night, SCG, Sydney versus the Western Bulldogs. Now, some might be believing what happened last week. The Swans, off the bye, which is actually a good trend, 10 versus 16 games. You think they're back. But there's an interesting game here because the Dogs, they're actually off a 5-day break here, Bernie. So there's been 6 teams that have been off the 5-day break this year. Only 2 have won. So right. 4 losses in that. So trend is towards teams are struggling, but also in that, in terms of the market expectation, 5 teams have missed market expectation. Only 1 team's been able to hit it. Who's the team?
Let me guess, the Pies.
Yeah, it's the Pies. They're the outlier. They buck every trend that is actually possible that's in this 2025 season. So there's a bit there for the Dogs to take in. What are we doing with this game?
Sydney looked a different team, though. Get Papley and Goulden back in for his first game of 2025. I reckon their ball movement looked a lot better. That link up through the middle. Papley, the energiser as well. They kicked 9 goals, 17. Really could have blown Port Adelaide away. So had plenty of looks, plenty of opportunity. And I think this isn't just to turn up and get it done for the Dogs. Like we might have thought a couple of weeks back, this might have been a lot easier for them. I think as you mentioned, there's a few things going against the Dogs. I think the Dogs still get it done, but I think this one's going to be a real arm wrestle.
Total point line, 172.5. You can see the numbers there. Sydney, low-scoring team. Bulldogs, highest-scoring team in the comp. SCG's a low-scoring ground compared to what it was last year, around sort of low 160s. The average between these teams, 159. But you just think if the Dogs get a hold of them, it's probably going to be a high-scoring match. I'm staying out. Have you got anything else you can push the viewers into?
Yeah, I had a look at Statmate and the Bont. How good was he last week? 3 goals. I reckon James Jordan might go to him after his performance last week, in some really good form. He'll try and shut him down, and I reckon if I'm coaching the Dogs, I'm sending the Bont forward and trying to test Jordan out as a defender, and he's just got too much height, too good in the air, so I can see him kicking a couple of goals and get 310 for that.
OK, very good. That seems very tasty. Saturday afternoon footy. It's got a red footy as well. So Gold Coast versus Melbourne. Interesting one here. The Suns, are they melting? Have we got a little bit of a watch on the Suns? Their next 4 or 5 games are going to see whether they can end up playing finals. What do you want to do with the Suns? Because this is a bit of a test for them. You think they can win the next 2, then it's Collingwood, Adelaide, and then it gets even harder with Brisbane. What are we doing here?
Yeah, tough one. And it's a must-win. The next 2 are must-wins for the Gold Coast. This is a huge point in their season, I reckon, the next 2 weeks, because the next 3, you'd think they possibly go down. If they don't win the next 2, they're going to have to upset a Collingwood or an Adelaide, which has been tough for teams this year. So they were pretty good on the weekend. They just let themselves down late. But, yeah, again, it's a tough one to pick. The Melbourne is such an unders team. Gold Coast an overs team. Is there going to be some rain come in? Is there not? It's probably a wait until maybe the bounce to see how the weather actually is for that one. But, yeah, again, we'll just wait and see for that.
I think that's a really good point. I reckon half an hour you actually end up having a decision here to have a bet here. 172.5 is the total point line. If there's no rain about, be the overs. But if the rain's about, it'll be low. We know the Suns struggle in the wet, and I reckon Melbourne can make it really close. Hawthorn versus North Melbourne. We're in Tas. We talk about this a lot. High percentage play. Hawks in Tassie, it's just a cheat code, really. They've played there 10 times in the last 3 years. They're 9-1. The game they lost was to the Crows by 3 points. So that's the positive there, but also the total point line we're seeing in this space as well. Unders, 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 unders.
Well, we got sucked in Adelaide Hawthorn a few weeks back. We said we're never going to make that mistake again. So, yes, it's just pointing towards Hawthorn and the unders. So back that in.
Yeah, absolutely. So you look at the numbers again. So you've got Hawthorn and North Melbourne at Tasmania. You just know that this ground, it's just so low. 140 and 91 this year thus far. 111, 164, 161, 216. 9 out of the 10 games have been the unders. So we always want to play in the high percentage space. We tried to be too smart last time with Hawthorn and Adelaide and thought the conditions were going to be really good. Well, half the players ended up with frostbite and they couldn't even see the last
fog.
The last quarter you couldn't see.
Planes weren't landing.
Correct, exactly. They shut down everything. They shut down Tasmania completely. So let's play the high percentage play. That 157.5 looks low, but the numbers are suggesting that it's going to be lower than that. So I think that's where we play in that space. If you're having a bet, please make sure it's a sharp one. Bernie's had plenty. He's avoided the fog. He's going positive. We're all with Bernie. We'll see you soon.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.